Hi everyone, today we're going to go through the process of applying for a US visa. Now the quickest and easiest way to get to the right website is to type in US visa into Google or your browser, and you will see that one of the first ones that opens up for you on the page is travel.state.gov. Now you can just click on here. And there we go, travel.state.gov, US Department of State, and here you can get all the information about the US visa. Now you can go through all of this, read through it, see what it is that you want to make sure of. You can insert your city where you're going to apply and go for your interview and see how long the appointment wait times are. It is currently quite hectic, so the sooner you can apply for your visa, the better. And then it also gives you more information about travel to the United States, forms and fees. The DS-160 is going to be the form that you need to complete to get this process started. And there you go, all the information. So if you want to go and visit the United States, you'll click on Tourism and Visit. Otherwise, if it's for any of the others, you can just click on that, like business. But we're going to process a tourism. So we're going to click on there. And here you can read more about the B2 visa, which is the tourism visa. And here it gives you an overview. So you can decide if you want the B1, which is the business, or the B2, which is the tourism. And you can also do a combination for both with a B1, B2. And then here it gives you how to apply. You need to complete the online visa application form. That is form DS-160. And then you will also see that for an interview, younger than 14, you generally don't need an interview, and older, 80 and older, you don't need an interview, but the in between 14 to 79 years old, you would probably need an interview. And then, as I say, you can look at your city's wait time. And the fee to process your application is $160 US. And then there's some more information as well about the interview and entering the US and extending your stay and all the other information. So let's get started. So the form that we need to complete for our application is form DS-160. So you can click right there and then get started. Select a location where you will be applying for this visa. Now this is also the city where you are going for your interview, so make sure that you select the right one there. We are currently in Canada, Vancouver, and that's where I'm going for my interview as well. And then you need to just capture the captcha to make sure that you are not a bot. And if you're not sure exactly about what is written there, you can refresh it or you can have it read out to you. Otherwise, you can just insert and then make sure that you do have your photo ready as well. And you can get the photo standard guide right over here, and you can also test your photo to see that it is fine. And then it says select a location and make sure you have the documents and information you will need. You will be asked for your application ID and answer a security question. And just remember to write down the application ID, because if you need to retrieve an application, that is the ID that you're going to insert here. Say for instance, you have gone through half of the process and something needs your attention and you can't finish, you can always retrieve your application by inserting your application ID. So you can save your application throughout. Click on Start an Application. You can read through all of this and click agree. And here's your application information. You will see that this here is your application ID that you can either take a screenshot of so that you have it for future if you need it, or you can just write it down, or you can print the application ID as well. And then they also ask you a security question. So you can select any of these questions and then provide the answer and then click on continue. And here we go. This is your personal information that you need to complete. And you'll also see that your application ID appears at the top. So if you forgot to write it down before, it's a good idea to have a copy of that number. And then you'll see there's all kinds of other numbers as well. And it estimates the time that you're going to spend on this is 90 minutes. Now, first of all, your personal information. There's your surname or last name, your given names, and this is all your names that you have on your passport. And then you also have full name in native alphabet. If you have that, you can insert it there, or you can just say does not apply, and it will grey it out. And also, if you need more information, it gives you help here, and it provides you with more information or an example of what you need to complete right over there. So you can go through all of this. They want to know, have you ever used other names? This is if you've gotten married or you've been adopted or anything like that, then you can say yes or no. Do you have a tally code that represents your name? Yes or no. Your sex, you can select male or female. Marital status, married, common law, civil union, single, widowed, divorced, legally separated, or other. And if you select other, you can just complete what is applicable. Then they need the date and place of birth, your day, month, and year, the city where you were born, the state or province, or you can select does not apply if that does not apply to you, and then the country. And once you've completed all of that, you can click on next and go to personal section 2, or you can save and always come back later. Then the second part of your personal information is the country or region of origin, your nationality. Drop down and select your country. Do you hold or have you held any nationality other than the one indicated above on nationality? So yes or no. If you say yes, it's going to drop down and you need to provide more information. And if you need to add another, you just add there. And if you need to remove, you can just minus and it removes it. And then there's another question. Are you a permanent resident of a country or region other than your country or region of origin? You can say yes or no here. If you say yes, you need to provide more information. If you say no, there's no more information to provide. Then they need your national identification number. If it doesn't apply, you just click there. They need your US Social Security number if you have one. If you don't, just click there. They need your US taxpayer ID number. If you have one, just complete it there. Otherwise, does not apply. And once you've completed all of that information, just click on next. Then they need your travel information. Provide the following information concerning your travel plans. Provide the following information. Purpose of trip to the US. So here you can select which visa you're applying for. And if you are going as a tourist or a business traveler, it will be the Temp Business Pleasure Visitor B. So it's a visa class B that you select. And then they say specify, please select. Now here you can either do a business and tourism, a business or a tourism. So it's a B1, B2, or just a B1 or just a B2. Now it depends on what you're going to do. If you If you do plan to sometimes go for conferences or anything like that, you can do a B1, B2, or if it's purely tourism, you can select B2. And you can also add another or remove. Then the next question is, have you made specific travel plans, yes or no? So if you have, just say yes, and it will ask you all the information. And if you say no, then you just need to put your intended date of arrival and your intended length of stay in the US, as well as the person or entity paying for your trip. If it is going to be yourself, then you just say self. If it's your spouse, other person, or your employer, you can select any one of those. And we're going to click next. The next section is travel companions information. Note, provide the following travel companion information. So they want to know if you are traveling with other persons. And if you look here on the help side, it says you should answer yes to this question if you are traveling with family, or as part of an organized tour, or as part of a performing group or athletic team. So if you are traveling with your family, you indicate yes here, and then it will ask, are you traveling as part of a group or organization? If you are, you can say yes, otherwise indicate no. And then they will ask, enter person traveling with you, and they need the surname, the given name, and the relationship. So is it a parent, a spouse, child, other relative, friend, business associate, or other, where you will indicate. And if you need to add another person, you can just click on the plus sign. And if you need to remove somebody, you can just remove them right there. And then once you've completed all the information they need here, you can click on next. Then they want to know your US travel information. Provide the following previous US travel information. Provide complete and accurate information to all questions that require an explanation. The first question is, have you ever been in the US? Yes or no. If you have, they're going to ask for a date of arrival and the length of stay. And you can add here more if you need to. And they say, if you are unsure about when you visited the US, please provide a best estimate. And then they also ask, do you or did you ever hold a US driver's license, yes or no? The next question is, have you ever been issued a US visa, yes or no? If you indicate yes, there's going to be more information required from you. If you indicate no, there's no more information required. If you indicated yes, they would need the visa was issued, your visa number, and then are you applying for the same type of visa, yes or no? Are you applying in the same country or location where the visa above was issued? And is this country or location your place of principal of residence? So is this where you're currently staying? Have you been 10 printed? That means, do they have your fingerprints? Has your US visa ever been lost or stolen? Yes or no? Has your US visa ever been cancelled or revoked? Yes or no? The next question is, have you ever been refused a US visa or been refused admission to the United States or withdrawn your application for admission at the port of entry? If you indicate yes, you will need to provide an explanation. If it's no, then they won't need more information from you. And the last question in this section is, has anyone ever filed an immigrant petition on your behalf with the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services, yes or no? If you indicate yes, you would need to explain. If it's no, there would be no more information needed from you. Once you've completed everything here in this section, click on next. And then they need your address and phone information. Your home address, this is now your address where you currently reside. If it's in Canada or wherever else it is, complete address right over here. And then they need your mailing address. And if your mailing address is the same as your home address, you can just indicate yes, and you don't need to complete anything else. If it is a PO box or any other address that you use, you can indicate no and complete the other address right over here. Then they need your phone number, your primary phone number, your cell phone or your home phone or any phone that you use primarily. A secondary phone number. If you don't have one, then you can say does not apply and it will grey it out. And then you can provide your work phone number. Otherwise, you can just indicate does not apply and it will grey it out. Then they also want to know, have you used any other phone numbers in the last 5 years? So if you have had any other numbers, indicate yes and complete the number right over here. You can also add numbers if you need to, or remove numbers if you need to. And then they also need your email address. And you must provide an email address. The email address you provide will be used for correspondence purposes. Provide an email address that is secure and to which you have reasonable access. And then, have you used any other email addresses in the last 5 years? And if you have, indicate yes and add it there. And you can add another one by clicking on the plus sign, or you can remove one by clicking on the remove sign. And then they also want to have your social media presence. So you can go on the drop down and you can complete whatever socials you have. Choose, for instance, Facebook, and then add your handle right over there. And you can also add more if you have different ones, or you can remove by clicking minus. And then, do you wish to provide information about your presence on any other websites or applications you have used within the last 5 years? So they're only looking at 5 years. To create or share content like photos, videos, status updates, etc. And then you can indicate yes or no. And if you indicate yes, then you need to add the social media platform and the handle right over here. And you can also add more or remove. And once you've completed all of that, you can click on next. They would need all your passport details, regular, official, diplomatic. In most cases, it would be regular. And then they need your passport number, passport book number. If that does not apply, you can just click on does not apply and it will grey it out. The country where it was issued, so you can go on the drop down and then select your country. And where was the passport travel document? They need the city, the state or province, as well as the country. And then the issuance date with the day, month, year, and the expiry day, month, year. And if it doesn't have an expiry, you can just click here as well. And then the last question here is, have you ever lost a passport or had one stolen, yes or no? And then you can click on next. Then they need your US point of contact information. This is any contact person or organization in the United States. And here it says under help, your US point of contact can be any individual in the US who knows you and can verify, if necessary, your identity. If you do not personally know anyone in the US, you may enter the name of the store, company, or organization you plan to visit during your trip. So they need a surname or last name, as well as given names, and then an organization name if you have that option. Otherwise, whichever you're not using, you just say do not know, and then they'll grey that section out. And then the relationship to you, is it a relative, a spouse, a friend, a business associate, an employer, a school official, or any other. They will also need the address and phone number and email address of your point of contact. And once you've completed all of that, you can just click next. Then your family information, relatives. Please provide the following information concerning your biological parents. If you are adopted, please provide the following information on your adoptive parents. Now they need your father's full name and date of birth. So that's his surname or last name and given names. And then the date of birth, the day, month, year. And then is your father in the US, yes or no? As well as your mother's full name and date of birth, her surname or last name and given names with her date of birth, which is day, month, year. And is your mother in the US, yes or no? Now, if you're going to indicate yes, they're going to ask your mother's or father's status, and they want to know is it a US citizen, a legal permanent resident, a non-immigrant, or other. So you'll just need to give more information there. And then, do you have any immediate relatives, not including parents, in the United States? Yes or no. If you indicate yes, they would need a surname or last name, the given names, and the relationship to you, which is a spouse, fiance, child, or sibling, and the relative status, whether they are a US citizen, a PR, non-immigrant, or you don't know. Then they need your spouse's information, so your spouse's full name, including maiden names, so the surname or last name, as well as given names, your spouse's date of birth with day, month, year, and also your spouse's nationality. You can click on the drop down, and then they need your spouse's place of birth, the city, as well as the country with the drop down. And then you need to enter your spouse's address. If it's the same as your home address, you can click here, and then same as mailing address, same as US contact address, do not know, or other. And once you've completed all your spouse's information, you click on next and you go to the work education section. Here you need to provide the following information concerning your current employment or education. The primary occupation that you have, you need to select the sector in which it falls. Once you select the primary occupation, you need to complete the rest of the information. So that is your present employer or school name, your present employer or school address, as well as your start date with the day, month, year, and then your monthly income in local currency if you're employed. And if it doesn't apply, just click there and it will gray out. And then they also need a brief description of your duties. So you can just insert basic information there and then click next. Then you need to provide your employment information for the last 5 years that you were employed, if applicable. Were you previously employed? Yes or no? And have you attended any educational institutions at a secondary level or above? Yes or no? If you indicate yes, you need to complete more information, as well as here you can add another or remove for each of them. The next question is, do you belong to a clan or tribe? Yes or no. If you're going to say yes, they're going to need a tribe name. Otherwise, you can say no. Provide a list of languages you speak, so you can add more or remove, and you can indicate the language there. Then, have you traveled to any country or regions within the last 5 years? Yes or no. If you're going to answer yes, they're going to ask you which countries, and you can just go on the drop down and add or remove. Have you belonged to, contributed to, or worked for any professional, social, or charitable organization? Yes. They will ask you for the name of the organization, and you can add another or remove, or you can indicate no. Do you have any specialized skills in training such as firearms, explosives, nuclear, biological, or chemical experience? Yes, they're going to ask you to explain, or no. Have you ever served in the military? Yes, then they will ask you for more information. about the name of the country, the branch of the service, your rank or position, and your military speciality, and the date from until. If you indicate no, then no more information is required. And have you ever served in, been a member of, or been involved with a paramilitary unit, vigilante unit, rebel group, guerrilla group, or insurgent organization? Yes, then they're going to ask you to explain, or no, then they don't need any more information. So just complete all of the applicable and click on next. And then you have the security and background part 1. Now here they say, note, provide the following security and background information, provide complete and accurate information to all questions that require an explanation. A visa may not be issued to a person who are within specific categories defined by law as inadmissible to the United States, except when a waiver is obtained in advance. Are any of the following applicable to you? While a yes answer does not automatically signify ineligibility for a visa, if you answer yes, you may be required to personally appear before a consular officer. So they have a few questions here. The first one is, do you have a communicable disease of public health significance? So if you have any of these diseases, you need to answer yes, otherwise answer no. And then, do you have a mental or physical disorder that poses or is likely to pose a threat to the safety or welfare of yourself or others? Yes or no. If you answer yes on any of these, there's going to be an explanation block that you need to complete. Otherwise, if it's no, you can just indicate no and you don't need to provide any more information. And once you've completed this section, you can click on next. And then part 2, there's some more questions that you need to complete. Go through them, complete yes or no. If you indicate yes, it will bring up an explanation box for you to complete. Otherwise, if it's no, there's nothing more to complete. Click on next. Then there's a part 3 that you also need to answer. You can go through all of these questions and then click on yes or no. And once you've completed all your answers, click on next. Then there's the part 4 where there's more information that you need to provide. Answer those, and once you've completed, click on next. And then we are at part 5 and we're almost there. Just a few more questions to go. Go through these, answer yes or no, and then click on next. And then you can upload your photo, and they say starting November 2016, eyeglasses will no longer be allowed in new visa photo. Once you click on upload photo, this is the page that will open up for you. And you can see that your photo cropping tool is right here. You can read more about the requirements, and then you choose your file and you upload. And then if they're happy with the quality and everything looks good, you can move on to the next step. And also note that it needs to be a JPEG format as well as 240 KB or less. So make sure that you have this size photo ready to upload. And when you've chosen your file, you can just click on next, upload selected photo. And there you go. Photo quality standards result, photo passed quality standards. Your photo has successfully been uploaded and passed all quality checks. Your photo submission has been accepted. You can continue your application at the visa website. And there you go. You can click on next to continue using this photo. If you need to change the photo, you can just go back and select a different photo. But once it's past the quality standard, you don't have to worry about anything else, and you can just click on next. And then also please note that you may be required to bring a passport-like photo to your interview. And if you want to choose a different photo, you can click here and then upload a new photo. Otherwise, you can click on next. And there you go. You have all the information that you have supplied in your application. You can go through it, make sure that it is all correct, that you didn't miss anything anywhere. And once you are happy with that, you can click on next, or you can print this out and save it for your own reference later. So once you've reviewed all your information, this is the last page before you submit. It says the location information, so you just need to confirm that this is your current location. And then if you need to edit it, you can edit it right over here. But otherwise, also remember that if you want to print it for your own reference, you can print it. You do not need to take this with you to your interview, but it's just for your reference to know that what you've actually completed. And if you're happy with all the information, you can click on next for sign and submit. You can read through all of this, and then you can answer the question, did anyone assist you in filling out this application? Yes or no. If somebody assists you, say yes and complete their details. Otherwise, if it was yourself, then you can just say no. And then your e-signature is I certify under penalty of perjury under the laws of the United States of America that the foregoing is true and correct. Enter your passport or travel document number and then enter the code as shown right over here, and you can refresh the captcha or you can read it out, have it read out to you. And then click the button below to electronically sign your application. And it gives you a message, you have successfully signed and submitted your application. You cannot make any changes to your application at this point. Please click next confirmation to complete the application process. And there you go, click next. And there's your confirmation. This confirms the submission of the non-immigrant visa application 4 with all of your details. And then please note this is not a visa, and you can print this confirmation, you can print your application, and you can email the confirmation. They will confirm the email address that you've provided on your documentation when you completed it. And you need to answer, do you want to send your confirmation to an additional email address, yes or no? So if you say yes, you can include another email address, or you can say no, and then just click on email confirmation. And then it will say thank you, and your application has been electronically submitted. Now you'll also see that there is back to confirmation, create a family application, start another application, or exit application. And then they also say you must bring the confirmation page, so email that confirmation to you so you have it, or you can print it now, and then the following documents with you at all steps during the application process. So you need your passport. That's the main thing that they need from you, is your passport. And then you may also provide any additional documents you feel will support your case, and then you can read through all of this. You must submit the confirmation page with a clear and legible barcode at the time of your interview. If you do not have access to a printer at this time, select the option to email your confirmation page to an email address. You may print or email your application for your own records. You do not need to submit the application at the time of the interview. Great, and that is it. Now you just need to book your interview session, and I'll take you through that process step by step as well. Thank you so much for watching, and good luck. It does take a bit of time, but go through the motions, take your time, answer the questions correctly, and you will have no issues getting your visa. Now you'll also see that there is create a family application where you can, if you're a family traveling together, you can create a family application right from here, or you can start another application. So you're going to click on that, and then you're going to get another number and the whole process again where you need to agree. Take a screenshot of your new number because you're going to need that. Choose your security question here with the answer and click on continue. If you do save your application, this is the message that you will get. Your application has been saved to the database. For the next 30 days, you will be able to retrieve your application from the database by providing the application ID and answering the security questions. So you can choose one of the following. You can either continue with the application or you can exit the application. Thank you so much for watching.